everybody. I'm here to talk about the latest episode of Empire. Now, let's just get right into it, y'all. I'm just going to be talking about all the different little things that come to my mind when I think about this episode. So, first of all, can we talk about how Lucious and Anika was going toe for toe in this episode? Oh my goodness. So, in the first encounter, Lucius done called Anika in there and, he's talking to her, basically trying to let her know that she's not in charge. She needs to fall in line and do what he tells her to do. And, he had, a little friend under the table. Okay, so later on in the episode, she called him into his office and was like, excuse me, I'm gonna do exactly what I want to do. Let's not act like I need you. You also need me too. Like she bossed all the way up and she turned into that old Anika that I have come to love, honey. I love that she's coming back into her own and not being so crazy and like you can just walk all over Anika just because she's like frail or whatever. No, honey, she came all the way together this episode. And so she had her little somebody up under the table too. And I was like, girl, you try. Did y'all see how Lucius pulled out that gun and was like, oh, why you running? Why you running? Y'all, I was rolling. That was crazy. So they had that little thing, and I'm glad that Anika stood up for herself and told him, look, excuse me, you're not finna be having me up in here with the crazy lady, and you be crazy on me too. I'm not finna do that. And so that was just good that happened. And y'all, how about his crazy mama? Tell me what y'all thought when Lucius's mama told Anika, my mama used to stick pins in a doll that looked just like you. Are you serious? She's crazy. See, something gonna happen. Anika and that mama is gonna get into it, cause that's her mom. His mama is crazy, and she came from a long line of crazies. It seemed like a voodoo doll that looked just like you. Are you kidding me? Are you finna do voodoo on me now? And also, tell me how y'all felt about Hakeem in this episode. Okay, so he done got all jealous and in his feelings over Tiana. Did he not? And I'm thinking, Hakeem, what are you talking about? He done got all mad because him and Graham, and I think Graham the rapper is played by Romeo, whatever. And him and Tiana have this stage chemistry or whatever. And Hakeem got so jealous and he got drunk and he started going on this rant and he was like, that's my girl, blah, blah, blah. And Lucius with his little snake self, he done came in there and he was like, why you in here talking about it? You need to make a diss record. Really? Like that's what he need to do, Lucius? And it's just like he keeps agging him on, like you need to be that vicious lion that came after his father, and you need to do like this, and you need to do that. And I'm like, why are you encouraging him to do some dumb stuff like that? You already know Hakeem barely be hanging on, honey, to his sanity, and now you got him out here doing diss records. Really? So at first he went and Hakeem went and started recording that disc record and Nessa was in there and she was a little uncomfortable. She was like, I don't even know Tiana. Why I'm gonna get on this disc record and be talking about her like that? I don't want to do that. So Sean choked her out because she would not get in that booth and sing, that song because she felt uncomfortable. So that made Hakeem a little uncomfortable and he went and told Lucius about it. And of course, Lucius with his crazy self, he gonna chastise Hakeem for coming to tell him about it. And it's like he choked his sister out in the studio for not going in there and singing a diss record. Like, and that's okay with you? Like, you think that makes logical sense? And, Lucius was like, you need to take some pointers from him. Pointers from him? So when people do things that I don't agree with, I'm just supposed to answer it with violence. Like, that's what you're teaching me? But, I mean, come on, this is Lucius. Of course he gonna think that that's cool. But eventually, Hakeem just falls for it once again. He's trying to be good in his daddy's eyes again, which I don't understand. Like, why does Hakeem feel like he needs Lucius's approval? Like, that is getting so old. After all the stuff that Lucius done did to Hakeem, he still seeks his approval because he goes right in that booth and he records that disc record. And you know it ain't gonna end well. What you think Tiana gonna do when she find out? She gonna go off like Hakeem. Excuse me. When you disengaged 2 weeks ago? When you getting ready to marry somebody just a minute ago? And didn't I give you my blessing? I had your back. So if you see me out here doing, see, Tiana is about her business. Okay, even when her and Hakeem was together and he was cheating and doing what he was doing, she was like, look, I don't care about all that. Just get on stage and let's make this money. And that's how she is. So, I mean, I know she's going to be extremely annoyed when she finds out what Hakeem is out here doing in his feelings. That's not going to get that girl back. And he don't need to be with Tiana, no way. He need to be by himself. Also, Jamal is still, going through his trauma from being shot. He goes to this meeting for post traumatic stress disorder victims, and he's in there, and they kind of talk sideways to him. He gets up and he leaves, and this guy Philip comes out, and he tells him, this isn't normally how the group goes. I'm sorry for what happened. And Jamal just basically gives up on it, and he's like, oh, what happened in there really did help me, and I'm gonna get help. But he's really not. So when it's time for him to go in the studio and work with Kitty, he takes a pill just so he can, perform and actually sing a song. Now, let's back up just a little bit. Now, Kitty is played by Mariah Carey. Oh, my goodness. What did y'all think about Mariah Carey's performance? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so, I had some glitter flashbacks. But anyway, so that's neither here nor there. So Kitty wanted Jamal to go on tour with him. And of course, Cookie has set the whole thing up because she's trying to do things in a positive way to kind of push him back into the music or whatever. So one thing that he decided on was that, see, he had his black and white album, and Lucious wanted to go ahead and release it. But if you go ahead and release the album, then you're gonna have to have performances, and you're gonna have to do radio, and the whole press and marketing stuff. He's gonna have to be out there in the public eye, and he's really not ready for that. So what he did was he said, we're gonna do a live performance on Empire Extreme, and that will be the bargain. Like, we'll get views and subscribers and all of that stuff, and we'll just put a hold on the black and white album. So Lucious agreed to it, in theory, okay? And so that's what happened. So he's still needing these pills to make it through. And I mean, I think that it's going to be a problem throughout the episode. And also, Jamal went and confronted Freda. Now, this is the first time that I think he's seen her since she's been locked up. So she wasn't angry or upset that it took him that long to come see her. She was very welcoming, but he's still suffering from the trauma of what happened to him. So every time she reached out for him, he felt like he was getting shot. So I don't know, like by the end of their interaction, he was like, it's your fault this happened to me, blah, blah, blah. So he's still going to have a hard time with it. Now, somebody else who's having a hard time is Andre. Now, tell me what y'all think about how Andre in the beginning didn't want to fight against what happened to him with the police. Like when he got out of the hospital, he had that bruise on his face. So they were roughing him up, and then he just tried to, I don't know, like he just wanted to brush it under the table and be like, whatever. And when Cookie and Lucious was talking to him, he was like, I'm a what school did he go to? Harvard, whatever school, prestigious school he went to. He graduated from there, and he's a businessman, and he's this and he's that, and he, like he's above it almost. But Cookie was like, listen, you can't forget you are still a black man, and so that became very apparent when it was time for him to show up to his little first court hearing, and they threw all them amped up charges on him, and he's like, wait a minute, what? Like, that didn't even happen. So now he's gonna have to fight it, because Lucious was like, let me get Thirsty on it, and I was like, yeah, let Thirsty get in there and he'll fix it, because he dirty and slimy anyway, and he would have got Andre all for whatever the case may be. He would have took care of it. So hopefully now he'll let Thirsty come in and start helping out, because they is just trying to railroad him, because once again he can't escape it. No matter what's going on, he's still a black man. And they treated him just like they would anybody else. How y'all feel about that little car ride after they got out of court? Lucious came and picked him up and took him back to the hood. I thought Andre was going to break that door off the hinges. He kept saying, let me out. And I'm like, will you please let him out? For he tear this whole thing up, okay? What the heck? And y'all, it made me so mad when Andre got off the bus and Jamal went with him, and then Lucious gonna look at Hakeem talking about, you gonna go with your sisters? Ooh, y'all, every episode, I want to punch him in the face. I say this every episode, y'all. And I do. Every single time. He gets on my last nerve. But anyway, what didn't get on my nerve was Cookie and her new little boo thing, honey, Angelo. Now that was really cute. Now, first, he was a little mad at Cookie because he thought that she had something to do with Zaya getting that recording contract. But of course, that was Lucious being dirty. So once Cookie ate his face up and let him know, excuse me, I didn't have nothing to do with that. And she actually went there and talked him into actually going to college. Then they was back on the same page. And how y'all felt when he leaned in for that kiss, trying to kiss Cookie, and she was like, "Ooh, excuse me." I thought that was real cute. So I'm anxious to see what happens with that. The ultimate punch in the face was when Lucius went ahead and dropped the album, but he called it the Black Album. And it's basically just all the songs that he produced, and he left off the songs that Cookie produced. So he did it anyway. Like, Jamal held up his end of the deal, but his dad didn't. So come on, what you expect Lucius to do? That's what he gonna do. He wanted to drop that album. He gonna find a way to do it anyway. And lastly, do you think that Tariq is going to flip Andre? Do you think something's gonna happen and he's really gonna get to Andre in some kind of way? I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that. All right. Well, that's everything that happened in this episode. If I left anything out, please put it in the comments below and we'll continue the conversation. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.